Berkhoff speaks of systematic theology's reliance on the Bible when he says that systematics is concerned with doctrinal truths. For Protestant theologians committed to sola scriptura, to say that we focus on doctrinal truths is to say that all of our theology must accord with the Bible. And in fact, we derive most of our systematic doctrines directly from the Bible itself. Berkhoff made this point explicitly in his systematic theology with this comment: the systematician must show that every part of systematic theology strikes its roots deep down into the subsoil of Scripture. Unfortunately, Christians have not always thought this way about systematic theology. In the place of anchoring systematics in biblical teachings, theologians have gone in at least three basic directions. Some theologians have seen systematics simply as rooted in church tradition or dogma. They see it merely as careful analysis of the teachings of the church throughout history. Other theologians have seen systematics primarily as rooted in religious experience. These theologians seek to bring systematic order to the religious imaginations and intuitions of human beings. Still other theologians have looked to philosophies that are foreign to the Christian faith as the soil out of which systematic theology grows. In effect, these theologians turn systematic theology into philosophy of religion. Now, everyone involved in systematic theology engages church tradition, religious experience, and philosophical considerations to some degree. But in our lessons, we'll define sound systematic theology as a discipline that is rooted ultimately in the teachings of Scripture. We're not seeking to ground our systematic theology in church tradition, religious experience, or philosophy. Like Christ himself, we understand that all good theology, including systematics, must be biblical. Now that we have seen that systematic theology strives to be biblical, we should consider systematic theology's attempt to be logically coherent, organizing the teachings of Scripture into a systematic arrangement. As Berkhoff's definition points out, this discipline seeks to make a systematic presentation of all doctrinal truths. Or, as he elaborated elsewhere, the systematician seeks to combine doctrinal truths into a systematic whole. In this view, the job of a systematic theologian is to summarize Christian beliefs so that they form a comprehensive, orderly, even logical system. Systematicians seek to make clear how the teachings of Scripture reveal a unified logical system of beliefs. In every age, many Christians have been satisfied to leave their beliefs relatively disconnected. We believe certain things about God. We believe other things about faith and salvation. We have other beliefs about ethics and morality. Although most Christians believe a large number of things, we often allow our beliefs to remain isolated from each other. By contrast, systematic theology places a high premium on displaying the coherence of Christian beliefs. Systematicians seek to take the bits and pieces of what the Scriptures teach and explain their logical relations to each other as consistently and comprehensively as possible. In fact, this is precisely why this discipline is called systematic theology. The goal is to display the system of theology taught by the Bible. In the third place, systematic theology tries not only to be biblical and logically coherent, but also to maintain continuity with traditional Christian concerns, focusing on doctrines that history has shown to be important for the Church. Berkhoff's definition addressed this matter by saying that systematics deals with doctrinal truths in terms of the Christian religion. He elaborated on this aspect of his definition in this way: the systematician may not proceed on the assumption that the doctrinal development of the past was one gigantic error, and that he must therefore begin his work de novo, or brand new. In systematic theology, we seek to view doctrines in terms of the Christian religion, in terms of traditional theological emphases and priorities. So systematics interacts not only with the Bible, but also with the main ways the Bible's teachings have been expressed by theologians throughout church history. This concern with traditional emphases explains why nearly every reliable Protestant systematic theology follows the same basic structure. Following the central concerns of theological reflection that have developed through the centuries, systematicians usually organize the doctrines of Scripture in this way. They begin either with bibliology, the doctrine of Scripture, or with theology proper, the doctrine of God. Then they turn to anthropology, the doctrine of humanity, and focus especially on humanity's need for salvation. Then soteriology follows, the doctrine of salvation. Next, ecclesiology, the doctrine of the church. And finally, eschatology, the doctrine of last things. This basic order is characteristic of systematic theologies because systematicians get these priorities from the contours of traditional Christian theology.